Okay, start.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tina Shari, and today I'm doing my informative speech. Here to watch me and to observe are my children, Andrew and Chloe.
Hi.
For my informative speech, I decided to do it on vampires. The first known vampire, well, the first vampire um, was known to be a man named Ambrosio. Ambrosio lived in Italy and came over to Greece. Unfortunately for Ambrosio, when he came to Greece, he met up with Apollo. Apollo did not like Ambrosio and decided that he was going to curse him. The way Apollo cursed Ambrosio was to make his skin sensitive. Ambrosio could not go out in the sun. If Ambrosio went out in the sun, he would get boils and burns and blisters. The next person that Ambrosio met up with was Hades. When he met up with Hades, which is equivalent to hell, he gambled his soul away. After gambling his soul away, he met up with Artemis, who is Apollo's sister, and she is the god of hunting and the moon. Her curse on Ambrosio was that if he was to touch silver, he would be burned. After a while, Artemis felt pity for Ambrosio. Because of this pity, she decided to make him immortal. Although she made him immortal, she also made him fast and a great hunter. In the time of Ambrosio, was the 1600s, um, people hunted and used the animal's blood to write. Ambrosio would kill geese and deer and swans and use the blood from them and write to his loved ones. Um, Ambrosio was the only immortal at the time. Well, not the only immortal, but the only vampire at the time. And he went on to create more vampires. The way that he created more vampires was that you had to promise your soul or lose your soul to Hades in order to become immortal and to become a vampire. In these, any of these writings, it doesn't say anything about him, you know, sucking blood, drinking blood, but it did say about him using the blood as a writing tool, which was common back then. After he was a vampire for a while, he moved back to Italy, where he started to form vampire clans. A clan is a group of vampires that try to live together, but that didn't work out because they ended up killing each other. Each country seems to have their own myth when it comes to vampires. In Mesopotamia, they're called bloodsuckers or demons. If you go to ancient Greece, they're impusos, which they're all relatively called bloodsuckers, but for different reasons. Um, in India, they believe that vampires are spirits of the dead, that they return. Um, they were evil people who came back from the dead and became blood drinkers. Um, then you have the people who try to dispel what a vampire is. The reason that they do this is because science and medicine want to try to say that there is no such thing as a vampire. Um, Prophoria is an allergy to the sun. It's not very common, but it does also give the signs of the blisters and the burns on your skin. Um, Polyphoric light insensitivity is also a sensitivity to the sun, but it's an immune reaction that causes boils and bubbles on the skin, but it's not as severe or common. Um, a lot of the blood drinking that even now, I'll talk in a few minutes about the clans of vampires that believe that they're here today. That could be associated with that pica. It's the disease where people, you had to see it on the shows and stuff, they eat couches, for God's sake. So it's a disease where people, I guess, really want to eat or have a craving for something, and in this case, it could be blood. Um, when doing my research, I found that the modern vampires, um, or people who believe themselves to be vampires, are more of a non-drinking vampire group. They're not out hunting humans, but they do believe they're vampires. They would rather be in dark places, and some do drink blood. Others believe that it's a source of energy, that they take in somebody else's energy, and that's the way that they sustain their life. They do not believe they're immortal. They just believe that they have, some powers, and they just believe that they're vampires, that they should be, night dwellers and night walkers, and um, that's really that with them. There are a lot of cults, and actually a lot of recent murders that have happened, I should say, in the cults, where they're sacrificing someone, they slit their throat, and they're taking cups of blood and drinking it from them, and then that person dies. Well, that person does not become immortal; they die, and it's becoming a little bit of a reality when it comes to these cults and their killings and the way that they're deciding now to drink blood from humans, or from each other, I should say. Um, I think the biggest phenomenon with the vampires is the Twilight series, um, where the vampires are actually, instead of being these horrific creatures that are dead or undead and walking the earth, these they've been made into beautiful people, and it's been romanticized. I think that's what is bringing our youth into bringing the vampires, back into, um, for all intents purposes, reality. You have Twilight series, you have um, True Blood, which the adults, are really into, which talks about vampires and werewolves, and um, you have Vampire Diaries, which is really popular with the younger, crowd. So you have all different aspects and different, in the Vampire Diaries, they're vampires and there's werewolves. They can all walk amongst the living because they wear these rings, or because they um, have Vervain, or with True Blood, the same. They're in the ground and then they come out of the ground. It's all different. Um, but if you believe that there could be aliens, then I think you might be able to believe that there's vampires. Just as if you believe in witches and demons, um, it could be that vampires exist. Um, I guess I would just conclude with that there's a lot of information out there about the gods and them having, an influence on why vampires started. And, everyone believes different things. So I hope you enjoyed my speech, and I look forward to seeing everybody else's. Thanks.